So we have a representative from Public Works here or from the Water Authority.
Sir, from the Office of Civil Defense.
I'm
Regarding
sorry,
water,
could you-
sir, water supply, if I may, sir. The whole province of Abra needs 300,000 bottles of water, drinking water. Yes. So initially, I coordinated with the Office of Civil Defense Central Office. So may parating na po na initial na 500 boxes of distilled water. So ang kailangan talaga, sir, is 6,250 boxes, 48 for a total of 300,000 bottles. Initial po. So we are doing an initial, naglo-loading na po sa central office ng Office of Civil Defense. It will be coming anytime this day.
But
yes,
are the systems that were damaged, are they undergoing repair? Because we cannot be providing bottles of water for too long.
Sir, good morning. I'm Director Kadafi Tanggol from DPWH CAR. Sir,
Oh, there you are. Okay.
with regards to the water system, sir, the maintenance and the operation were delegated to the local waterworks now. So they have the responsibility for the maintenance, sir.
Cannot provide assistance to the local government para maging mas mabilis.
Sir, the first instruction of Secretary Bunuan for us is to make all our national roads and bridges passable.
Correct, yes.
So we started dun sa, we have 22 road closures, and then for CAR, we still have 3 na road closure. So after which, we will assist also the local government units in clearing their local roads. Yun ang instruction ng Secretary Bunuan, which we are doing now. And nagpalabas din siya ng assessment team, si Secretary Bunuan, both from the central office and from the regional office, to assess the situation of our infra and other buildings. Kasama na yung sa school buildings, hospitals, and other government facilities. So this assessment, sir, is ongoing na since yesterday, and we will submit the report tomorrow, Friday. Yun ang binigay sa amin na deadline, sir.
All right, but we have to put together a plan to restore the actual water systems
Yes,
as quickly as possible. Yes, Senator.
yes, Mr. President, if I may. I'm sending up a solar purifier, and we've found in Ilocos Norte that those are very helpful. You don't have the disposal of plastic and all the other issues that surround distilled water. So perhaps the national government can begin to procure solar purifiers for these disasters. In the meantime, I'm sending one to Abra.
Very well.
Mr. President, sir.
One of the things that we have found useful in all of the disaster, pagka water supply ang nagiging problema, are the water purifying systems that are very simple. You've seen them before, yung nasa balde, and then they have a filter. We should procure more of those because immediately water is always going to be a problem. Para hindi, things like cholera, diphtheria will come into play. So tignan natin na mabuti yan. In fact, I know already of a source where we can immediately get them. There is it is actually an aid agency, and yun lang ang trabaho nila. Nagpo-provide sila nung ginamit natin sa
Mr. President.
Yes,
I think
President.
that's the NGO called Spring that was very present in Yolanda, in Tacloban.
That yung maliliit, maganda niyan is it's sufficient for one to supply 100 people per day. So if the barangay has 4, 5, 6 of them, at least may tubig na.
We also have an indigenous technology using the burnay to filter by layer the impure water into potable.
Well, we have to try everything. Basta pakuluan lang ng konti just to be sure that everything is safe. Yes,
Mr. President, sinabi ni Senator Almi, tama po yun. In fact, MMDA is now here with 10 water purifiers. We've issued, ginamit po namin ito nung huling Odette sa Bohol at sa Samar. So naka-standby na po sila. Siguro solar powered din po sila. Lalagay lang ito sa isang poso o kung saan at it could really pwede mag-supply sa isang barangay. Andiyan na po, the 10 teams.
Ang isang barangay. How
Yeah,
big, how many,
ito po ay sampung makina
ano
po
to,
ang dala po
nakasakay
nila.
sa truck?
Ano po ito, portable po ito, sir. Very
Mabisa,
portable.
portable na
Yes,
to.
sir.
Okay.
Na-test na po na, gamit na po namin ito, and magdadala. And they're
Oh,
now here at the Capitol, the MMDA searching.
Kailangan natin lahat yan. But I'm particularly interested doon sa that simple purification system. Because we don't know how long it's going to take. So mabuti meron silang water supply, iwanan na namin sa inyo yan. Kasi ito, when more or less there is a supply. But we cannot depend only on water bottles. After a while, and then makikita ninyo ang daming plastic bigla sa barangay ninyo. Maglilinis kayo ng gusto. So all right. So yes, those are the critical parts, I think, to support the not beneficiaries, the victims. In the meantime, hanggat sila'y makabalik. All right. So I would like to see a report on the infrastructure damage in the roads, bridges, then also from the irrigation, kung tinamaan yung mga irrigation system natin. And what the damage is. So maybe the Public Works can give us a report on the
Good morning, sir.
yes.
Here we will start with Cordillera, and the next reporting will be by Argitan of Region 1. So for this particular incident, we were able to deploy 408 equipment and 2,228 manpower. That's for CAR and Region 1. Next slide, please. And then, sir, these are a series of pictures of the landslides that happened in Cordillera. This is under the Benguet province. Next slide, please. This one is in Marcos Highway, sir. And as of this writing, it's already passable, 2-lane passable. Next slide. Yan, sir, yung sa Marcos Highway, it's now passable. Next slide. That's still in Marcos Highway. The same one section lang yan, sir. Next slide. This one, sir, is in Nueva Vizcaya Road. As you can see in the slide, yung portion na may intervention, walang nangyaring slides. But dito sa section na malapit sa cameraman, wala pang intervention na nagawa. So there's a slide. Next, please. This is the same section, sir, in Nueva Vizcaya Road, which is now open, 2-lane. Next slide. Another section in Nueva Vizcaya Road. Again, this section, sir, is open na rin as of now. Next slide. Another section, sir, in Andres Acop Cosalan Road. This one, sir, is open lang siya ng 1-lane. We need more intervention for this one. Next slide. Yan. So, passable na po siya, sir, for 1-lane lang. Next slide. So, this one, sir, again, is in Andres Acop Cosalan Road. It's now passable. Next slide. Next slide, please. This one, sir, is in Governor Badu Dangwan National Road in Kapangan. It's now passable then, sir. Next slide. This one, another section in Governor Badu Dangwan National Road. It's now passable, sir. Next slide. This one, sir, is again in Governor Badu Dangwan National Road. It's now passable. Next slide. Again, sir, in Governor Badu Dangwan National Road at Kibungan, it's now passable. Next slide. Another section of the Governor Badu Dangwan National Road in Ampusungan, Bacon, Benguet, it's now passable, sir. Next slide. This one, sir, is in Baguio Bontoc Road there are series of slides that happen in that road section. Next slide. The same road section, sir, in Baguio Bontoc Road. Cleared na ito, sir. It's passable. Next slide. Again, in Baguio Bontoc Road, sir. Sir, ganyan kalalaki yung mga nahuhulog na bato dito sa Cordillera. So you can just imagine the danger that ito yung kinakatatakutan ng mga taga-Cordillera pagka dumadaan sila sa ating kalsada, sir. Next slide. This one is in Alab section, Bontoc Mountain Province. Next slide. This one is in Bunyan section, passable na rin ito, sir. Next slide. Next slide. Again, in Baguio Bontoc Road, Lukib section, Mountain Province, sir. Now it's passable. Next slide, please. And this one, sir, the next slide. Next slide. Again, in Baguio Bontoc Road, sir. This is in Mount Data Cliff, Bauco. Ito, sir, yung hindi pa passable. Ongoing pa yung clearing at this section. Next slide. Again, katabi lang ito nung isa, sir, pero this part ng doon sa Mount Data Cliff is open na. Next slide. This one is the Mountain Province to Ilocos Road. Next slide. Passable na rin siya, sir. Next slide. This one, sir, again in Mountain Province to Cagayan via Tabuk Inrail Road and Makotiti section. Passable na rin siya, sir. Next slide. So those are series of pictures, sir, that we were able to collect. And as of this morning, sir, 7 a.m., we still have 3 remaining closed na road section. This is the Ifugao, sa Ifugao, sir, the Kiangan Tinok Bugyas Road, which we expect to be open bukas ng 5 p.m. And one in Kalinga, sir, the Lubwagan Batong Buhay to Abra Road. Again, we expect this to be open tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then the one, yung nasa picture, sir, na close pa rin, the Baguio Bontoc Road. Our target is July 30. Namin ma-open yun, sir. And sir, with your instruction, in fact, may mga yung kasama pala sa assessment team natin na dinispatch ni Secretary Bunuan, kasama yung mga consultants ng foreign consultants. So I'd like to inform our local governments here in Abra, yung Katahira and Sons, they have a team that went here this morning also to help us in the assessment of the extent of the damage.
Paano naman meron kayong report sa mga tulay? The Vice Governor was showing me pictures of damaged bridges.
Yes, sir. Yung mga na-report na damage, sir, mostly on the approach, sir. So madali na lang yung intervention, sir. Structurally stable naman yung mga bridges natin along our national roads.
Hindi, Joy, yung pinakita mo sa akin, may malaking crack na ganito, all half a meter wide na crack.
It's located in the Baay Bridge in Abra Kalinga Road, sir.
At saka yung, what was the other bridge, yung umurong sa approach?
Yes, sir.
Hindi na parehong level.
We are waiting for yung result ng assessment ng ating structural engineer, sir.
All right. Well, again, of course, that's very important. You get all those bridges back into service. I think you're doing as well as can be done dito sa pag-clearing ng mga kalsada. Malalaki yung mga bato na nakita natin. All right. So that now when we have to organize also, I guess local government, kasi kayong mga staff, ang mga staff ninyo magagamitin, paano kung hindi naman injured yung mga evacuee, paano natin kung as soon as possible maibalik? Kaya tinanong ko na kung kailan tayo pwedeng pumasok sa mga bahay para maibalik sila sa bahay nila. And for those that have damage, do we need to provide usually, at least for temporarily, mga, hinihingi niya mga trapal, mga GI sheet, plywood, mga dos-por-dos. Yun ang mga para meron lang sa kagaya mga bubong na nasira, at least makuberan nila habang i-repair para pwede na sila makatira doon. But the first part is going to be really kung it's safe. We have to determine that it's safe. And
Until when po kaya, Mr. President? Kasi most of the families are on the streets, or they use the camping tents
Yeah.
outside their houses. So they are waiting for us, for our advisory, kung kailan ulit sila papasok sa bahay nila.
Yusek Solido, maybe you can guide us.
Ang pinaka-importante po, Vice Gov, is ma-inspect ng mga engineers kung structurally sound yon. Kung walang sira, mas candidate na bumalik agad. Basta masigurado na structurally safe. Kasi yung ibang may sira, baka matuluyan sa aftershock.
But the fear, Yusek, is that baka simulaan nila yung pag-inspeksyon, abutan naman sila ng aftershock.
Usually po sa labas muna
Baka
sila.
masaktan pa sila.
Usually sa labas muna. Tinitingnan muna. From the outside, that's the first phase. May mga visual inspection po ang mga engineers ng Public Works. At kung may candidate na delikado, siyempre hindi na muna pababalikin yan.
Alright. Ganun talagang tendency, ayaw iwanan yung bahay as much as possible. So we must we do everything to bring them back in who will do the inspection? Will be the local government or the DPWH? Sino mag-inspect ito mga residences na ito? Kayo sa Public Works o sa local? Ang usually na ano?
Yung for the residents, sir, local na yun, sir.
Maybe you can give
But of course, sir, DPWH is always,
there's nothing wrong.
we're here we can assist naman.
If the national government will provide some technical assistance.
Sige, sir.
Oo.
Yes,
Kasi
if I-
ilan ang engineer mo sa Kapitolyo?
Yes, if I may, Mr.
Yes,
President,
Senay.
please. Yes, regarding inspection and structural integrity and soundness, since Region 1 is present here, I just came from Ilocos Sur, Manong Chavit is here. The destruction among the heritage churches, for example, is overwhelming. We inspected Bantay, the Vegan Cathedral, as well as Kaunayan Church. They are or should be condemned shortly. However, it is known to us that the Public Works, for example, is hardly competent to assess the integrity of these centuries-old churches. May I encourage the speaker being here that the budget be put aside for proper structural integrity that is non-destructive. I have done this. At least I've got a bill for it for Poway Church before. Medyo mahirap-hirap siya, highly technical. May rebound hammer test, ultrasonic pulse velocity, electromagnetic cover, meter test, Windsor probe, and on and on and on. You have to contract specialists for this, but clearly for heritage churches, this is necessary. Secondly, I'd also like to pitch here that much of the infrastructure really in Region 1, CAR, and Region 2 is over 50 years old, which by international standards is ancient and should be replaced.
Sir, may I?
Mr. President.
Yes, please, go ahead. Ronan.
Hi. Good morning, sir, Mr. President. RD Ronel Tanpo from Region 1. Actually, yung instruction nga po ni Secretary, tulungan namin yung local. Actually, ginakandak na po namin sa mga national buildings yung assessment sa lahat, including bridges. Susunod na po namin na tulungan yung local na mga residences na ano yung kanilang structural integrity ng kanilang buildings. Actually, kahapon pa po, nag-start na kami lahat ng national buildings, start na namin. With regards po dun sa mga, dito naman po sa Region 1, minimal lang yung damage. At least yung pong as reported, for the infrastructure, mga 35 million lang po yung ano. At yung pong nabanggit na tulay, yung Kalumbuyan, Anduyan, at mga ano lang po yan, sir, mga slow protection lang and may mga papalitan lang parts yung tulay para restore na po sa dati. And with regards to also to Region 1, doon sa road na sarado, 3 road section lang po sa Region 1 ang sarado, itong Tagudin Cervantes sa bahagi ng Soyo, na dahil sa dami ng rock slides, mga next week pa ho namin matatapos. Pero po yung 2 road section na kadugsong nito, yung papuntang Aluling at papunta ng Bontok, ma-open ho namin hanggang bukas. Matitira lang po yung isa. Pero may mga blasting po kasi may ginagawa. Kaya medyo may backup na rin pong mga equipment na dila ang regional office para mabackupan yung district engineering office. With regards po sa LOC, wala naman hong reported pagdating sa water supply na damage sa bahagi. Wala hong nire-report sa amin. All
Alamin ang guidelines na itinakda ng DepEd para sa academic year 2022 to 2023. Ang opisyal na pagsisimula ng klase sa public schools ay sa August 22, 2022 at magtatapos naman sa July 7, 2023. Ang mga pribadong eskwelahan naman ay maaaring magsimula sa alinman araw mula sa unang Lunes ng Hunyo hanggang sa huling araw ng Agosto. Maaari pa rin gamitin ang blended at full distance learning hanggang October 31. Ngunit lahat ng paaralan ay dapat nang magsagawa ng 5 days na in-person o face-to-face classes simula November 2. Kaugnay nito, kailangan siguruhin ang striktong pagsunod sa public health protocols, gaya ng pagsuot ng face mask, pagsunod sa physical distancing, pagsiguro na maayos ang ventilation, at tandaan, bawal ang sabayan pagkain habang nakaharap sa isa't isa. Kasama